a time in my life I thought I had to do it all by myself, and I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. Ooh, but now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you got to let it go. Let it all go. And this is what you have to say. Come on. I release, I let go, I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide, 'cause I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit, and I'm only here for God. I release, I let go, I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide, and I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. I'm only here for God. One more time. I release, I let go, I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit, and it's only up to God. I am free in the Spirit, and I'm only here for God.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you so much for getting our hearts going. And I am so glad to see everyone that's here today. Welcome to Unity on Greenville. My name is Sandra Dela Cruz, and I am your celebration assistant today. So thank you, thank you. Here at Unity, we practice a positive path to spiritual living. I want to welcome those at home as well, and those that are watching us later in the day, we welcome you as well. Guess what? Today is potluck. Woohoo! I heard we're having tacos, taco bar, and all kinds of other stuff. But if you're into taco bars, which I am, I'm looking forward to that. So whether you brought something or not, please, you are welcome. There's always plenty. So we're grateful to have those that brought, and we're grateful to have anyone attend. We are doing something new. It's called Cafe Society. Reverend Veronica will be meeting anyone who is interested in having a cup of coffee and having a discussion. There is a coffee place called Well Grounded Coffee Community Shop. It's on Garland Road. And if you'd love to join Reverend Veronica, I think I'm going to go. It's on May 18th at 10 a.m. It's Saturday morning. So she'd love to see you there and have a cup of coffee with you. We would like next Saturday to sit in consciousness beginning next Saturday for our new spiritual leader. We will meet in the community room about 10:45 for 5 minutes. We will repeat our minister affirmation, and we will sit in silence for 5 minutes so that we know that that person is on their way. And this will put our minds to set that intention. So please, anyone is invited, and we will meet in the community room very briefly. So we'd love to have anyone who'd like to pray with us.
Is it Sunday?
It is Sunday, next Sunday. Next Sunday. Did I say Saturday? I'm sorry. Next Sunday. Thank you, Rachel. Okay, our upcoming speakers. Well, today we're really excited because we've got Roger Kennedy back. So we want to welcome him as our speaker today. Thank you, Roger. It's nice to have you back, but here is our list of other speakers. We've got a wonderful group, and so please come on Sunday and join us. We are a tithing church, and whatever you bless us with, we also bless with others. So we'd love for you to consider us your spiritual home and share with us your gifts and also your time. And in each of the pews, there is a little card that gives you all the ways to give. You're welcome to take this home. We are accepting of anything, not only your gifts of monetary tithing, but also your gifts of time. So please consider us, if you consider us your spiritual home, we would love for you to also support us so that we may have these wonderful Sunday services. And together, can we share our offering blessing? Please read this with me. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. With gratitude, we commit to using our gifts for good. Thank you. Today's word is inner peace. And today is Sunday, April the 28th, 2024. And our affirmation is, I call upon the infinite peace of God within. I find peace in the beauty around me. A clear day, flowers swaying in the breeze, a gently flowing stream all reveal the presence of God and reflect my inner nature. Lasting peace resides within my mind and heart. If that peace is temporarily disturbed, if I am feeling out of sorts about my life or the situation of a dear one, I draw upon my strength and stability by turning away from outer circumstances and going within. I quiet the chatter of my mind, perhaps thinking of one of my peaceful places, imagining the breeze caressing my face and hearing the trickling stream. In this quiet state, I connect with my source and begin to feel a settling calmness. I consider my life from this higher perspective and remain centered and serene no matter what is happening in my life or in the world. Our scripture today is John 20:26. Peace be with you. Will you please repeat today's affirmation with me? I call upon the infinite peace of God within. As we prepare for prayer and meditation, Rachel will set our intention by a beautiful song. And then we will have Donna Kirby come and share a prayer with us. And I'd also like you to know that Judy Flemister is holding sacred space. She's our keeper of the flame today. If you would like prayer after the service, Donna will be at the back of the church, and she will pray with you. So now Rachel will set us our space for prayer.
Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of love is in this place. Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel the mighty power in God's grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of love is in this place. Surely the presence of love is in this place.
Let us pray. Oh, sweet Spirit, within each one of us, which connects each one of us together in love, in like-mindedness. We express with gratitude the love that we share with not only everyone in this sanctuary, but also those watching us. And as we walk out this week, out this church later, we walk into a world of peace and love, and we are that instrument. We are grateful, and so it is. Amen.
As we center ourselves and prepare for meditation, I'd like us to recall a moment ago the words of the song that Rachel just sang. The presence of God is here in this room. And now going a little deeper, I'd like us to focus on the truth of God living within us, each of us. Recalling that Jesus told the Pharisees, the kingdom is not there or there, but it's within. And our own second unity principle, God lives in each of us. And as we become comfortable and remember, as Reverend Barber has taught us, we are original blessings of the divine. In this sacred space, allow yourself to embrace that presence, to own the presence of the divine within you. And in this sacred space, away from the upheaved and volatile world, let's begin to center ourselves in that recognition that God has been there all along and continues to be within us. And to forgive ourselves and to remember ourselves in our connection to the divine. And just be with that truth for a moment. Realize how it makes you feel, the understanding that we've had the divine within us all along. We've never been forgotten. The divine has been there, God has been there with us all along, from the time we were born and before, right up to this moment. And as you're comfortable and embracing that recognition, when you're ready, begin to come back into the room. in the fullness and awareness that God is not only in the presence of this place, but within each of us. Amen.
Every color of the rainbow, every pattern of the mystic wave, every movement of the cosmos, every mood, each familiar face. I'm an ever-changing beauty. I'm alive with the cosmos. Capture my essence in the moment, won't you? My spirit's a kaleidoscope. Yeah, circumstances won't get me down. I'm out falling, but I'm not losing ground. I found the motto in the pages of a book I used to read. Every color of the rainbow, every pattern of the mystic wave, every movement of the cosmos, every mood, each familiar face. I'm an ever-changing beauty. I'm aligned with the cosmos. Capture my essence in the moment then. Don't you feel your spirit's a kaleidoscope? Yeah, hey, a kaleidoscope. Can't you feel it? 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 I was silenced in the white out. My clarity eluded me, but I unraveled the mystery. It's inside me, a book I used to read. Every color of the rainbow, every pattern of the mystic wave, every movement of the cosmos, every mood and each familiar face. I see you out there. You're an ever-changing beauty. I see you aligned with God. I capture your essence in the moment. 'Cause your spirit's like a kaleidoscope. Red, blue, yellow, purple, white, gold, silver, magenta. Ooh, I see you in the rainbow, and your spirit's a kaleidoscope. Ooh, a kaleidoscope. A kaleidoscope. Yeah. Your spirit's a kaleidoscope.
Thank you, Rachel. I'd like to introduce our speaker today. He's given me a little bit of information about him in case you weren't here the last time he spoke. Roger Kennedy grew up in Topeka, Kansas, in the shadow of Unity Village, about 50 miles to the west. He first visited Unity on Greenville and Unity of Dallas in the 80s. For 40 years, he has been involved in both Unity and religious science and centers for spiritual living. He is particularly, let me see if I can say that word again. You know, sometimes the word just doesn't come out right. Particularly student of Course in Miracles and Urantia book. 6 years ago, Roger wrote a book. It's called Preparing for Change, a Lightworker Guide to an Unraveling World. Whew, I got through that. So please help me welcome Roger Kennedy.
So I had planned to be here anyway because I was going to listen to Barbara and stay for the potluck. And after I spoke 2 weeks ago, I had to rush out to a funeral. So I didn't get to really talk to people, and I'm hoping to do that. So I'm literally driving I go to 3 church services on Sunday, and at like 7:30, and I get a call from Barbara, and she really wants you to know, she really wanted to be here, and she's been working at it all week, and she thought she was better yesterday, and she said, "Can you do it?" And I said, "Yeah." So I turned around and went back to my apartment and got some materials. So 2 weeks ago when I spoke, I was able to stand and I had no notes. It's going to be a little different today. This is a talk that I gave in the Seekers class at Unity of Dallas, which is my home church, 2 years ago. And I've got some notes. There'll be a little bit of pausing as I gather myself. But I'm really, as you will about to find out, I'm really connected to this topic. So let's call, I know there was not a screen, in time. This is called the Great Emergence. And in a few minutes, that'll become clear why. So I begin with the uncomfortable reality that we've all been hearing for decades, that Christianity is just devolving, it's disintegrating. The number of people, the young people, they're not interested, it's stale, it's old, it's all of that. And as a younger person, I used to wonder, and I wouldn't say I'm a student of the Bible, but I remember the verses, there's somewhere in the Bible, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And then he says to Peter, on you, Peter, the rock, I build my church. So I've been observing this with everything else. It's like, well, Christianity just seems to be coming apart, and some of the things about the stale and some intercessionary or somebody who knew better than everybody else in whatever denomination, it's like, yeah, that was there for me. But then I also had other sources that told me otherwise. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to share, to particularly include a 40-year student of the Course in Miracles and the Urantia. So in 1986, there was a group of us that had our first teacher. We had 4 teachers. 2 of them were Reverend K. Hunter, a lot of you know, and also Father Taliaferro, who founded Michael's and All Saints, got booted out, and then had the Rosicrucian Church, St. Alcuin, for years. And then 2 other individuals, a man and a woman. 3 of them taught the Urantia. But in 1986, there were about 6 or 8 of us, and John David Walker, who was our first teacher, 3 of the 4, Reverend K. Hunter, Father Taliaferro, and John David, taught the Urantia. And so as a young'un in my mid-30s, I didn't know it. Wasn't a widely known book because 3 of the 4 teachers I was becoming more spiritual metaphysical with were very versed in it. I'm going to talk about it in here in a minute. He told us on the same day to go to Constellation, which a lot of us older ones remember from European Crossroads, and buy the Course in Miracles and the Urantia. Well, because of the way he put it, and I've come to understand since then that there gets to be animosity between, there's like 3 Urantia societies, and International and Course in Miracles, there will be animosity. I never thought of them as anything other than a companion to each other. The Course in Miracles being more for the individual brought forth by Jesus, and the Urantia, as I'm going to describe shortly, is a history of the planet and the message for humanity that Jesus brought. Okay, so having said all of that, in addition to on you I build my church, the rock, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the Course in Miracles. You probably studied it. In the very short introduction, I somehow knew that despite what was happening, with the denominations and Catholicism and Protestantism, there was something deeper underneath. Because of the Course in Miracles starts out before you even get into the text or the lessons, it says the following: this is a Course in Miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. And for those of, I mean, how many lifetimes you have to before you get it. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. The course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. It does, however, aim, removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. So it says from the start, and one of my late friends, Buck Massey, he would remind us of this introduction that says, you will take the course, all humanity will, they just have to decide, each one has free wills to decide when. So based on that, I knew Christianity was not going to fail, despite what was out there in the third dimension world. The other one, this is the Urantia book. Mine is well worn. It is in biblical print, but it's 2,100 pages long. And I've studied it for years. I will say when I came back, after having been Donald Curtis days in the 80s, when I came back 8 years to go to Unity of Dallas, I was surprised how few people had even heard of the book or were very familiar with it. But the reason I'm invoking it is to explain the following. It also talks about Christianity of the future. So the Urantia is 2,100 pages, roughly about the first 2/3 are the history of the planet, how we got here, the meaning of the Trinity, just any number of things. The last third of it, about the 657 pages, are known vernacularly as the Jesus Papers. They start with the birth of Jesus. I mean, things that the lost years of Jesus, none of that is lost in here. We know how Jesus died. We know how many brothers and sisters he had. But the point I want to make, the last 200 pages or so of the book starts focusing on what the future looks like. Now, this book was brought forward by the Melchizedek Order of Angels, and the Melchizedek, as we know, the wisdom teacher of Abraham, the sage of Salem, he was called. The last 200 pages are talking about what's coming, and there are 3 phrases I wanted to invoke today that those of us who had studied the Urantia, I just knew, in addition to this, that what they were saying here, things were not what they appeared to be. And there are 3 things they say. They say in those last 200 pages, they call it the true religion of Jesus. It's invoked over and over and over again. The true religion of Jesus. It says, the religion of Jesus as he brought forth has never been tried. They say it flat out a number of times. It has never been tried on your planet. And the reason is the third phrase is like quickly going off track, the disciples and the followers, they made it, and this is a very key phrase, they made it the religion about Jesus instead of the religion of Jesus. And I'll say that again, instead of becoming, because this is a free will planet, which is very much a unity concept. The planet and the humanity on it was allowed to do what they will. And it even goes into that which of the disciples and Magdalene understood what he was about and which ones didn't. And took it in the wrong direction. And I say, instead of being a religion of Jesus, it became the religion about Jesus. And to this day, again, they say, you've never really had the true religion of Jesus. You've never tried it on this planet. And that is going to happen. Well, you take the individual version, you will do this course. Ooh, I'm sorry. So, I have been with those truths for a number of years. And this is where I want to get into the title of the talk. So, St. Thomas the Apostle on Inwood Mockingbird, I had never been there, I'd never attended, I'd been at different events or different groups that met there off and on. But a friend of mine named Drew Dixon at Unity of Dallas, about 6 years ago, he wanted me to start attending a Bible study that a retired Episcopalian priest named Father Ray Ball. And I begrudging at first, and he finally convinced me. There were about 8 or 10 of us every Thursday morning. The man was phenomenal. He was ill at that time. He'd retired. But to this day, at 73 years, I've never met anybody that understood the Bible the way he did. He was almost like a pop-up. If you he could tell you the context of the community, the culture, all of that. Well, I think we're in the fall of 18, and I'm going to say it's October, and one day he talks about this book. It's called The Great Emergence, and he starts telling us about it. And I and several others are just sitting there absolutely enraptured. Because I'm not a big go out and get this book and read it. And I went up to him afterwards and I said, let me see that. And he said, you really need to get this. So I ordered it. And it's by a woman, the late Phyllis Tickle. So that's what I really want to get into today about the Great Emergence and what the history that leads us up to this apparent disintegration and what it's really about. Phyllis Tickle, I've been told, died, I'm thinking maybe 18. She used to be the head of Publishers Daily or Publishers Weekly or something like that. But she is the name on the book, but it was actually done a research by 3 men and 3 women. I believe they were Presbyterian, all up in the north, like in Minnesota or something. And what they discovered was fascinating. And I've talked about this to many people. The Great Emergence is what we're in the midst of and is getting ready to happen now. So the documentation that they did was that basically every 500 years, Christianity completely falls apart and reinvents itself. And that's what we're going through now. And it's really fascinating. Let's see, 1519, exactly 500 years ago, and they go back 7 500-year periods. 500 years ago, the Great Reformation. And every time you have one of these, and I'm going to be going backwards in time to show you where it started, and they explain that every time you have one of these periods, you have a split, you have a fork in the road. And a lot of what was old dies off and falls away. What is good about it stays, and you come out with something new. Well, the split 500 years ago was the split away from the Catholic Church, and you had Protestantism. You go back 500 years before that, and it was called the Great Schism. And it was the schism between the Catholic and the Orthodox Church. And you have the Orthodox Church that splits away from the Catholic Church, and it goes in 2 directions. 500 years before that was the Great Monasticism. And up to that point, everything had been Holy Roman Church. The Great Monasticism, they started branching out, and there were monasteries all throughout the countryside and in other countries. And so you had a split to where Christianity was venturing out. 500 years before that was the time of Christ, was the Great Apostolic. Because up until then, there really wasn't Christianity until he brought that. So the Jewish religion had a fork in the road, and now you have Jesus bringing the best of the Jewish, but also the New Testament values, and you have another fork in the road. And now you have Christianity. They called it the Great Apostolic. But they go on to say that even 500 and 1,000 years before that, there were already these the greats. 500 years before Jesus, they call it the Great Captivity. And this is where the fork in the road was between what had always been, they call it judges, to the monarchy. Now you have the judgments, the harsh judgments of the Old Testament. Now you have the hierarchy, if you will. I'm a little vaguer on that. They don't explain that as deeply. But 500 years before that, 1,000 years before Christ, they call it the Great Preparation. And so they say, they contend through these 3 men and 3 women, their historical research, they can go back to Christianity and go all the way back to 1,000 years before and see how every 500 years things appeared to fall apart for the purpose of creating the best of anew, the best of the old and the best of the new, a fork in the road. So their contention is in this book, and they get a little bit into the weeds, there's a lot of charts and quadrants and all of that, but basically they're calling this the Great Emergence. Well, what is it the emergence of? And I've listed some of they say it's good, the new Christianity that's coming out of the period we're in now, it's going to be more egalitarian. It's going to be more equal. They talk about that it's going to be much more of a male-female balance. It's not going to be a patriarchal situation anymore. It's going to be, and this is huge, what is the emergence of? If the word that describes it best, the emergence of the individual. And in a couple of minutes, I'm going to bring that into the unity principles and how I think unity is perfectly well suited to be a denomination that brings this great emergence forward. So they say that it's going to be much more individual. And in my book, I say ascension of consciousness is individual, not collective. It's not sins of the fathers, or we don't ascend in groups. It's not our tribe. You know, you are, as unities, like you create your reality, full agency. You're responsible for your own consciousness and its growth. Well, that's what they say the Great Emergence is about. Much more nature-based. They envision sanctuaries that are going to be, that are church buildings that are going to bring a lot more of the nature in, so that the divine in form of nature really is there. And they go on to say that they're going to be far less intercessionary. There's not going to be someone who knows, some exalted figure, you know, who has studied more or was more connected with the divine. Much more community, in which individuals are raising each other and the group collectively in consciousness, and not reliant upon one or two or three individuals who know. And I want to, before I go to the last one, I want to insert, probably most of you know that Unity of Dallas doesn't have its senior minister right now. And one of the things, and I found this fascinating as I listened, because I'm not one of the policymakers there, but I listened to the discussions, and I remember it through this filter. There is a concept that they are talking a lot about, and apparently it's making its way through Unity and other denominations, called mission-centered as opposed to ministry-centered churches. So, and it's not a secret, I'm not revealing anything. That church over there is dealing with that. They've had a couple of people come and do workshops from Unity Village. And it doesn't mean we're not going to have a minister, but the whole concept is changing to where it's not going to be devotion to one person or allegiance or, you know, no, I don't want to say a cult figure, but personality, more about does this person match the mission of this church. And this fascinates me because I read this book, like I said, 8 years ago, and it's like, wow, this is the Great Emergence at Unity of Dallas unfolding in front of my eyes. It's less intercessionary, more about what do we want, how do we all want to contribute. And just like you guys, we're doing a lot of guest speakers right now. But even when the minister does come, and I would venture here or there, it's going to be someone who is more in a consciousness of this Great Emergence, which is the community, the individual. And the last one, or it's not all of them, but they talk about more respect. And I want to read, this is, I and a good friend of mine are big followers of a series by, I'm trying to think of his name. Oh, Ramon Stevens, of an entity named Alexander. And I love this quote. So it talks about what respect really is. So divine grace manifests most clearly on your plane as respect. What is respect? Respect is when you allow all others the right to ride their own divine grace as they see it, understanding that you each live in a cocoon of your own creation, a highly private yet publicly shared existence in which each individual, pursuing his or her own greatest fulfillment, automatically and unconsciously contributes to the advancement of the species and the planet as a whole. Respect, then, is when you allow all others of your species and all others of all species their private place, time, and path. Respect allows no place for coercion, force, or violence against another. Respect is an intuitive acknowledgement of the uniqueness of each individual, each species, each form physical matter can take, a deep understanding of the greater cooperation that underlies your world. As each species and individual contributes its individual perspective, its private experience to the shared venture on which you have embarked. Respect is how divine grace manifests in your world. When you respect another, you recognize and acknowledge the divine grace within the other, understanding that it is not necessary for him or her to follow your footsteps in order to reach greatest fulfillment. And so as I begin to bring this, I want to bring all of this that I've said together, as I did 2 weeks ago about speed bumps, you know, our speed bumps on the spiritual journey, and how I believe that unity, religious science, CSL, as Barbara has said, are the two that are very well suited to present the individual with an environment in which to have both the opportunity and the responsibility to work on the speed bumps. Well, now I'd like to bring it here. So unity, I already mentioned, the mission base seems to be a concept that is expanding more and more out of Unity Village and among Unity churches. But as you look at the unity principles, the 5 unity principles, God is all there is, God is within each of us, we create our own reality. When we're in balance, we co-create with God. And finally, first words and ideas, then actions. Well, the whole tenor of the Great Emergence, and why I taught it a couple of times for the class there, was that the whole idea of where Great Emergence is going is perfectly suited for the 5 unity principles, the responsibility of each one for his or her own consciousness. And I ended last 2 weeks ago saying, I really, really do believe that unity is being positioned, I think especially in Dallas, to be a place where then it was the speed bumps, you know, are supporting each other and moving through the obstacles that get in our personal path. I want to come back and end with that same principle. I believe that unity and CSL are very, very well suited to be that environment where an individual who is becoming more and more confused, and we know how much we read about it all the time, the young people are adrift, you know, they're not anchored. The way I like to say it, they turned their backs on the stale of the Christianity, but they didn't really have much to replace it with. And then now a lot of them, the anxiety and all that, I want to end by saying I think that unity here, unity of Dallas, unity everywhere, is perfectly suited to bring the 5 principles and be that place that's not only the safe space that I mentioned in meditation, but also the place where people can, as Barbara's friend Louise Ross, I've been here with a couple times to hear Barbara, she likes the full agency. Full agency. The opportunity is the individual's, but also the responsibility. You create your own reality. And then Deb Stovall from our church likes to invoke the phrase, unity is practical Christianity. It's putting it to use. So, kind of last minute preparation, but I hope I've gotten my thoughts across well. We are waist deep in a period called the Great Emergence that happens every 500 years. And those who are religious, who are wringing their hands, and those who are secular that think, oh, it's coming apart, is like, no, it's reforming. And it's this 7th fork in the road, taking the best of what has been from the Christianity there, adding to it. And unity, there's never been any question that there's any male hierarchy in unity. I mean, the people here conducting this service today, it's a predominantly female energy. So anyway, I thank you for the opportunity, and Barbara was relieved that I was able to get this together in time, but thank you very much for your time.
I don't want to put off living in heaven, waiting for the day when I leave this life. 'Cause heaven starts right here and now. it's a state we allow. Deliverance is coming for us. Come on, everybody, let's sing a song of our salvation. Until the moment we are free, we rise to our salvation. There behind the scenes, there's a force of unity. It's one for all and all for one. It all begins in me. Life just seems to flow. Inside I know it's not mere coincidence. Looking back I see the pattern. Every single moment matters. All of us are in this life together. Come on everybody, let's sing a song of our salvation. Until the moment we're free, we rise to our salvation. There behind the scenes, there's a force of unity. It's one for all and not for one. It all begins in me. Come on, everybody, to sing. It all begins in me. Come on, everybody, let's sing. Come on, everybody. Come on, everybody, let's sing a song. Come on, everybody, let's sing a song, a song, song of our salvation.
Thank you, Rachel. And I definitely want to thank Roger for driving on his way to another service and making a U-turn and coming here and giving us a message. And we really are grateful that you were able to do that for us this morning. Thank you so much. And if you want to know the 5 principles, you know, if you're reminded of them, you know, we have these cards that you can get, and they have the 5 principles on there, very abbreviated, so you can carry one of these around. And thank you so much. We are grateful. Let's give Roger another hand. Oh, good. Yay. Thank you, Valerie. Let us say our affirmation for our new minister, who we know is coming soon. Please repeat it with me. We embrace with love, joy, and harmony a creative and dedicated spiritual leader who will bring positivity and connection with our community and unity on Greenville. And then we have core values here, if you can please read them with me. Unconditional love, conscious spiritual transformation, spirit of service, acceptance and inclusion, expression of divine light. And then if you'd like to connect with us, get our newsletter, ask for prayer, ask us a question, want us to give you a call, please go to our Connect button at our website, and we are happy to answer you. Thank you so much for doing that. And now if we can stand and sing the peace song together.
Yes, there is peace on earth. I know it begins in me. Yes, there is eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth. I know it begins in me.
And now the prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Potluck upstairs.
May the light of God surround you. May the love of God enfold you. May the power of God protect you. Presence